Okay, good morning, guys. We are still talking about the reported speech, but today we are studying how to change the sentence when I have to report a direct speech using the imperative form. For example, you can see here the example, open the door. Okay, I give you an order to open the door and you have to report my sentence to someone else. Okay, he or she ordered or she told us or she told me to open the door. Okay, so you see that the verb, okay, that in the direct speech was in the imperative form is given in the reported speech in the infinitive using to. Okay, infinitive form including to. To open, he told me to go away. She told me to give her a new iPhone. Okay. If the order is negative, for example, don't answer the phone, it is very similar. I say, she told me not, which is a negative, to answer. So you see that the change is very little. I just have to add a not before the infinitive including to. Okay, so she told me not to answer the phone. She told me to not to open the door, not to listen to the radio, not to play in the garden. Okay, and this is another example in the negative form. For example, using the verb to be. Okay, don't be back late. Okay, when I change it, I say he ordered, not me, not to be. Okay, not to be back late. So the verb to be is given in the infinitive form with to. So not to be. Okay. For example, the teacher told us not to be late for the classwork. Okay. Or the teacher told us to be in time for the classwork. Okay, so just to to revise. To plus infinitive, not to plus infinitive in the negative. Okay, and other examples come here. He told me to go there. Okay. Do your homework. Father told me to do my homework. Teacher, don't talk to your mate. The teacher told me not to talk to my mate. Other verbs used for the imperative, because you remember that we can normally use tell, which is the easiest word, the easiest verb, but we can also use order. Okay, get out of the car, said the policeman, or the policeman ordered him to get out of the car. Or ask. Okay, could you please be quiet? She asked me to be quiet. Warn. Okay, an advertisement. The man with a gun said to us, don't move. The man with a gun warned us not to move. Ci avvertì. Okay, we can also use invite or beg or forbid. Okay, so invite for an invitation, beg to ask, okay, a prayer, and to forbid to say that something is forbidden. Okay, now let's see something about reporting questions. Okay, we can have yes or no questions. They are very simple because, as the example, is she ready? Okay, this is a typical question with the verb to be with the inversion. When I make the reported question, I say he asked me if, okay, or I can also use whether, this one, subject and verb, if she was ready. You see that is has been changed into was, so there is the change of tenses as always. If I make a question using the auxiliary do, okay, does she like me? Okay, it is a present simple. He asked me if subject, as you can see here, if she, the verb from the present simple, is changed into the past simple, if she liked him. Okay? Second example, did Cindy see me? Did she see me? He asked me if Cindy, from the past simple to the past perfect, if Cindy had seen him. What is important is that you don't have to change to use the, for example, the inversion in the present of be with the verb to be, or the auxiliary with all the other verbs. But in the indirect speech, you just have to change the tense of the verb and not to make any other change. Okay? Different is if we have a question. Okay, a WH question. So when, what, where, how. Okay. For example, when is she coming? Okay. The question is he asked me, the reported speech. He asked me when, I repeat, when, okay, I immediately use the subject, she, and I change from the present continuous to the past continuous. So I make the change of the tense, but I don't use any inversion, any structure for the question. Okay, so even if I'm making a question, I have to use the order of subject, verb, and all the rest of the sentence as if it was an affirmative sentence, okay, or statement. So in the question, verb, subject. In the statement, word order is subject and verb, okay? So then, when did they arrive? Okay, or where did they go? They asked me where they had gone. Okay, so I always change the tense of the verb, but the order of subject and verb remains unvaried.